Hello, welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, comment, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We would love to hear your ratings of the movies and shows we review.
Email us your audio file to recappingpodcast@gmail.com and we will play it during the show.
Or DM us on Instagram and we will post and read it on air.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Delora, we're back.
Hi, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good, girl. Our first show of 2022. How you feeling? How you living?
We made it. We crossed over to this new year. I'm super excited and blessed.
Yes. And we couldn't come back with just a regular show, I guess. We had to be ambitious, right? We had to do another In Conversation interview to kick us off.
And it's real special.
Exactly. We are joined by fellow Daytonian and WSU alum, the talented Renika Williams, who displays her acting talents in season 1 of The Sex Lives of College Girls. So, Delora, guys, let's listen in.
So excited.
Hey, Renika, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, I'm good. How are the two of you?
Good.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. You
Thank you for having me.
You are our third In Conversation guest. So I feel like Delora and I are getting the hang of this just a little bit, you know.
Hey.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. This is incredible.
Well, congratulations on your appearance as Willow in season 1 of Sex Lives of College Girls, currently available on HBO Max. Laura and I just finished it. We loved it.
Loved it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know,
and your
I was
character shines.
Yes,
shines.
She does. In every scene.
Oh.
And I remember the first time seeing you, that's how you stuck, right? When that locker scene, I was like, ooh, who's this? Okay. And then I'm so glad we got more throughout the season. So loved it.
Yes. Thank you.
The hand stuff scene almost took me out. I'm gonna be honest. The hand stuff scene.
Girl, you ain't lying, because I was done. I was so done.
No, honestly, that was my favorite scene for the whole season, for sure. It was my last day at Warner Brothers. But that's a long story. We shot in New York for all the outside stuff. But that was a great last day at Warner Brothers Studios, because
with the wonderful Sherry Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, she's
phenomenal.
incredible. She called me funny, and I was like, I think I could go to heaven now.
Amazing. All right, well, let's get into it just a little bit. So we've been asking each of our guests as we get going to walk us through the highlights of your journey thus far. So for you, from your studies at Wright State University, go Raiders, to obviously appearing as Willow in Sex Lives of College Girls.
Honestly, the highlights of my journey thus far haven't been like the biggest moments. They've been the moments, I think, where I've learned what I don't want. I think there's been the moments where I've learned how to say no. I always struggled with like speaking up for myself growing up. I was like really quiet and I didn't want to upset anybody. But I think at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, I did an internship there for 10 months. I really learned the kind of rooms I didn't want to work in. Like I learned if I were ever to be a director, I'm not sure I would do it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like learning the kind of artists that I wanted to work with. I think moving to New York City, right after my internship, I booked a show at the National Black Theater, which was an amazing experience to work with a Black artistic director, a Black production designer, a Black director, an all Black cast. Like it was a huge moment for me. And I learned like, wow, we can tell our stories by ourselves.
Yes.
We can own the building. And it's these moments that like, you know, everybody brings up like my first official off-Broadway play, which was All the Natalie Portman, which was incredible. I got to work with C.A. Johnson, and she's a good friend of mine. But it's those smaller moments for me that are like, okay, I just did my first web series with Juilliard students and I freaked out, but it's okay. Why did I freak out? You know, it's like these moments that like are not highlighted, you know, like recently I did something and someone was like, Renika Williams' first job, sex lives of college girls. I was like, that is not my first job.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
You're on Valley and
Yeah. I just think like we often hear the narrative like overnight star, and I just don't.
Yes.
I think it's offensive because like I've been doing theater since I was 12 at Cyber School for the Arts. I like professionally been working since I was 20 at Victoria Theater Association. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, no, I don't like when people miss those types of things because those are the things that got me to this moment.
Yeah, we just had that conversation actually about the fact that it seems like a lot of people will see something on social media or once it becomes, you know, a big moment, you know, press wise, what have you, and think, oh, this person shot to fame. There's so much work to your point that goes on and so many years of preparation that you can reach now, obviously mainstream success. So that's exciting though. All of it is exciting.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, I wonder if I'm still shocked. Like, I wonder if I'm still in shock. Because I'm like, yeah, it is. And I always imagined I would do like cartwheels. But I'm in therapy, always in therapy. Everybody should have therapy.
Absolutely. Girl, I just started, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
No, listen, let me quit acting like I started a long time ago. I started last year. But
no better time than the present.
Exactly. We've had a lot going on, Renika. We've had a lot.
A lot.
Listen, all of us have. And I just think it's important to have somebody to talk to. And I did tell her about a friend who told me that she didn't think that I was excited. And I was like, what? I'm excited. This is exciting. And she was like, you don't seem excited. And my therapist was like, or you've just been working really hard for this moment and now it's here and you're like, thank you. This is what I've been preparing for. And I'd rather take that because that's how I feel.
Oh, I love that.
Giving yourself credit for all the hard work you've done through the years, right? And so you've already highlighted this already so far in our conversation, but could you elaborate more about your time in the fine arts growing up?
Yeah, for sure. I went to a school called Salem Christian Academy in elementary school, and I was in the second grade. And my brother was in the fourth, and we were like auditioning for like the Christmas program. And they gave my brother Regis a line in the program, and they didn't give me one. And that's when I was like, this is not okay. Like I would say this so much better than him. And from that moment on, I was like, you know, I'm kind of like, how can I do this for fun?
Yes.
So every year they started doing more programs, and I got into them after that. I was cast. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I was like really quiet, but something about being on stage, like I felt like I finally had the attention of everyone and they would listen to me. Then in the sixth grade, I auditioned for Cyber School for the Arts, which was incredible. I didn't even know the school existed until one of my teachers told me. And that's when I started to do like real productions, like of plays and not like something someone wrote about Jesus, who I love, but still,
Amen.
And from there, I did not stay at Stivers for other reasons, but I stayed in the arts, and I think it actually pushed me to realize that there are so many other opportunities in the city. There are like art camps at the Schuster Center in downtown Dayton. I got to do
the Schuster Center,
right? It was a really great experience. Like they would bring in artists from New York and we would take classes with them. And I got to take classes at the Victoria Theater and the Human Race Theater. And then I auditioned for Wright State and a few other schools and I got in. And that's when everything like really shifted. It was like, okay, how are you grading me? That was my biggest question. I'm like, you know, straight A student. And it was just a weird learning curve when they're like, no, you're going to be an artist. And I'm like, okay, but how do I get an A? You know,
exactly.
Why are you concerned about that? But yeah, Wright State was rigorous for 4 years. I didn't get to be like a normal student. Some people only had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they got to party and stuff. And I was in class starting at 8:30 a.m. in jazz or ballet, and then my last class of the day was like at 4, and that was a modern acting class. And then if you were in a show, you were rehearsing from 6 to 10, sometimes 11, depending on how close you are to the, performance date. And that was my 4 years. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I think school is important for any artist. I mean, there are a lot of actors out here who don't go to school, and I respect what they do. And they do other training programs and classes of that nature. But I think that's where you learn the tools that you want in your toolbox. And it doesn't mean that you have to use every single tool, but it's nice to be like, okay, I have this toolbox from Wright State. Now I'm at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, and now I see why they put that in there. Let me use that. I lost my voice for the first time at Cincinnati Playhouse. I did 6 productions with them, and I lost my voice. And I was like, why am I losing my voice? Oh, I'm not using it properly. Let me go back to the things that I learned at Wright State. And so it wasn't until like after I graduated that I was like, okay, this is how I take care of myself. Because we went from doing like 10 performances at Wright State per play to doing 65 performances at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park. Okay, this is what it takes to be a professional actor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
that's amazing.
One of the things that I just heard, and I'm going to put it out there, is support the arts and support Wright State's arts program, because as an alum, first of all, I know how phenomenal you guys were. We just talked off mic about Wright State's arts gala that you guys put on every year to kind of help with that, with scholarships, all of that, and the students every year just blew me away. I mean, there's basically a demonstration from everybody from acting to musicians to singing to just like a talent showcase almost. So I definitely saw the hard work once I got a chance to see you guys live and performing. But interesting that you think that training is important. I think that's awesome to hear from somebody who studies the arts, because to your point, there are a lot of actors who seem like, they kind of just get straight into it versus going through the training. But your body is an instrument.
Do things on social media and then just,
but your body is an instrument, right? So you have to know how to take care of it so that you can have longevity in the industry.
Right. Absolutely. So. I mean, I respect these kids. Yeah, I do call them kids because I feel old. Like, I don't have TikTok.
Oh no, you're not old, because that makes us old. You're not old.
Listen, they can get on this TikTok or whatever, and they can make a funny scene and like go viral and all these things. But the question is, do you know how to do it again?
Yes.
Do you know how to do it for 30 takes while people are watching? You know what I'm saying? It's just,
and for 30 years, Renika, because I'm assuming you're in this for the long haul, baby.
I'm trying to be a strong Cicely Tyson. Like, that's
there we go.
I'm
2
really
snaps.
trying to the last day doing something. So yeah, it's exactly what you said, like longevity. Do you know how to take care of your instrument? And that's what I learned.
So congratulations on season 2.
Thank you.
so exciting. For the first season, when you got that call, especially for a Mindy Kaling HBO project, how was it? Can you explain to us exactly what happened that day? Because I just want to know the tea.
Do you want to know that day, or do you want to know leading up to it?
All of it, like whatever you want to talk about, we're here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't tell many people the whole story, but we here and we sharing the tea. So I had just gotten a new manager in August 2020. I was with an agency that did their best, but it wasn't the right fit. It wasn't, they were really great in theater, but I really wanted to focus on TV and film. And my manager, the very first audition she got me was actually for The Sex Lives of College Girls.
Oh wow!
And it was for a different character, and I read for it. They pinned me for 4 weeks. I had never been pinned before, but they like put you on hold, like, and say like, we're interested, don't move. Like,
now that's a good fact, because I've never heard of that, being pinned before.
Yeah. They call it pinning because if you're in the casting office, I've heard that they literally will pin your headshot on a bulletin board and like pair you with other people. So I was pinned, and but I didn't get that role, and I was like, that was a funny script. Okay, like, and I just move on, kept auditioning. I auditioned. The next audition was in late February 2021. It was my 111th audition with that manager, which was way more than I ever had in my entire life. From August 2020 to February,
that's a lot.
2021. Yeah, I've had I was auditioning I had 3 to 5 auditions a week for that time, and it was. I mean, I went from having one audition a month to that, so my quarantine was very busy.
Yeah. Have you gotten used to the rejection side? Just, not to interrupt you, but have you gotten used to that yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. There was a turning point in December 2020 where I got really close. It was down between me and another girl for a show. And I cried for 3 days. And I was like, I can't do this. This is not sustainable. This is not a healthy relationship to me basing my happiness on whether somebody gives me something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to learn how to do it, do my best work, be myself.
Do what you can control, right? What you can control.
And then right. Yep,
I did my best. And then
just throw it out. Yeah. It was just I just can't get attached in that way. Of course, great roles come along, but it's I can't. I just have to think in the moment, do the work, and then I have to throw it out because I was like, I can't be crying for 3 days. I literally can't. I can't be crying for 3 days.
It's such a part of the process, right?
Right. And I had never experienced it before because all glory to God, I've always worked on stage. I've always hasn't been a time where I haven't had a job in theater. So 2020 was really hard for me to just be no. I'm this is weird, But then February came around and I got the script again for The Sex Lives of College Girls. And I was like, I remember this. This is funny. It's a new character. All right. I called my cousin because sometimes she would read with me. And she's just like, sure. We did it one time. I was like, I think that was funny. Let's send that. And she was like, Renika, you usually do it 3 or 4 times. Come on, let's do it again. I was like, I think that was funny. So I'm going to send it. I sent it to my manager. She sends it off. And we didn't hear anything for a whole week. She was reaching out, following up. And no one responded, which is really weird. Usually they're we're still reviewing or whatever. And no one said anything. And I was like, well, that's dead. It's fine. On the 7th day, we got a call that said, hey, we would like Renika to come to callbacks. It's going to be on Zoom because we're in Atlanta COVID. I was like, oh, thank you, God. My first callback for a series regular.
And on the 7th day, Renika, that's biblical.
I was thinking that too.
It's actually crazy. It's crazy. I did the callback. They gave me more scenes, did the callback. I was like, oh, okay. So 3 hours later, they called again and they're like, we would like Renika to do a chemistry test, which is with, they try to see your chemistry with the other people that they cast. Yeah. I was like, oh, thank you, God. This is my first chemistry test. Yes. So I got to read with Aaliyah Chanel Scott, who plays Whitney. And I thought it was
so good.
She's so great. I love her. We read together. It only took 10 minutes. And in 30 minutes, they called and they offered me the job. And they said, we would like to fly you to LA tomorrow. And I was like, okay, so nobody told me. I was like, wait, no one told me why is the turnaround so fast?
Yes.
Unfortunately, they were recasting. And I hope whoever it is well. But yes, I was recast and they got me there really quickly. I quarantined for 3 days. And then I got to work. So I didn't have time to freak out. I think if I would have had the 4 months that everyone else had, even though I'm if I would have had that 4 months, I would have got this whole body together. But because I had a day, it's whatever. But
you looked amazing. You looked amazing.
No, sorry. We don't want to talk about those issues because I don't know. I feel like everybody has that thing where it's like, ooh, I don't like looking at myself.
Do you play soccer for real? I'm curious.
No, child, no. I ain't never cooked no soccer ball ever. And that's why I was really worried. I was like, wait, I play soccer? Like, am I required to know how to play? And they were like, no. It's not a soccer show.
Right.
You just play soccer on the show. We care more about if you're a good actor and if you're funny. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I worked with a trainer for 2 months, which it was really hard, honestly. Like, to be 28 and learning how to play soccer, because I grew up doing other things like dancing and plays.
I was a fine arts kid too. I danced. I did color guard in the marching band.
No. I was in a marching band too.
Yes, that's where you got your cardio, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm used to being a majorette. Like, this is not okay. What? Yes. But no, I trained with him. The first session, I definitely cried. It was like, because he's trying to teach me all these tricks. I was like, wait, I don't need to learn tricks. I need to learn how to dribble. He was like, no. He said, you're better than you think. I said, I'm not. I need the foundation. I need the basics. And then he kept going, no, you're better. And Aaliyah goes, she said she wants the basics. I said, I like her. I do. I like her.
Yes.
What I love about that is I feel like I always hear about different actors doing these very rigorous trainings or diets and all this stuff, but we never get like the firsthand experience of like how tough that actually is. It just seems like, oh yeah, I had a trainer for 5 months. I learned jujitsu. Like, baby, you learned jujitsu. Right. Like, what are we saying? How difficult was that really? So I appreciate that.
No, it was very hard. Honestly, it was probably the most challenging part of playing Willow was trying to learn how to play soccer. And we were doing it in the middle, by the way. Like, I was filming and training. So it wasn't like I got to train and then I filmed. We were doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, that was a lot.
Well, again, speaking of Willow, loved her and her friendship with Whitney throughout season 1. And you kind of talked about the soccer prep, but was there any other preparation you had to do to kind of get into character? And then what are your hopes for Willow in season 2?
You know, it definitely concerned me that I didn't feel like I had to do any other prep for Willow. I was like, why is this so easy for me? Like, I definitely worked from the outside in with Willow. I thought about, okay, if she's been an athlete all her life and she's more of what she would consider a tomboy, how would I walk? So I worked from the outside in. I started with the physicality. How would I sit first? And then I wanted to figure out where I wanted to place my voice as well, because I wanted to make sure she was different from the other girls, just because that's what I wanted for Willow. I think Willow is bold. I think she's loud. I think she's funny. And I want to make sure that, like, when she's talking, like, she's like, even my facial expressions, you know, like she knows that she's big. She's a big person. And she doesn't mind being a big person.
Oh yeah,
so
I love that.
I started from the outside in when it came to Willow. But the writers are amazing. They made it easy. They made everything easy.
The writing was so good. I wanted to ask you really quick, talking about your competitor at Netflix, Bridgerton. One of the things that Ray Jean Page said was when he prepared the Duke, he had a pair of shoes. Like, did you have like some type of token to help you get into Willow, into character as Willow?
Honestly, I have to give that to the costume department, because as soon as I put on my tracksuit, I was stand differently. But I did ask them, because they were like putting me in like size medium, which is what I wear. But I was like, actually, can we go bigger? I want Willow to have baggier clothes. That would help me. That was like, as soon as I put it on, I put those large pants on. And I even asked them one time, can I have some cute, like Aaliyah type, like boxer briefs? Not Aaliyah, my friend. Aaliyah,
Aaliyah, the artist.
Yeah,
the artist.
Yeah. So we could like see it. Like, that instantly helped me become Willow. And then like the day will be over and I would go put on my skinny jeans and my crop top and feel like myself. You know, it was just like, it was all about the clothes for me. Was a big thing.
Well, I love that it sounds like it was a collaborative environment and they kind of gave you the latitude to kind of make those decisions. So again, any hopes for Willow's character in season 2? Anything you're hoping to get into? We haven't gotten into Willow's sex life just yet.
No, we haven't.
Girlfriend.
I'm like, we will see. Everyone told me this, like, is Willow gonna get with Whitney? And I'm like, no, we're like best friends.
Yeah. Like, I didn't see that, but I thought maybe another teammate, possibly. I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea what they're gonna do, but I definitely hope that for season 2 we can go home with Willow, like go to her dorm, like, and figure out like what's her major and what she's interested in. I think it was cool to definitely support all things Whitney, but I would love for like Willow to have her own conflict next season and then see how they merge with her friends, basically. And just to meet more of the other girls, like, you know,
the roommates,
more of the other people. Just to
and around the soccer team girls, everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I just, you know, put me in, coach. I'm willing to do whatever I want to do.
I imagine I have like multiple images of who Willow may be dating. Like, I don't think Willow's going to be dating some straight-laced chick. I think Willow's going to have a very interesting love life, and maybe even be interested in not being with just one woman, because I could see that for Willow as well.
That's
Juicy.
Hilarious. That's really funny, right?
Yeah.
No, but whatever it is, it will be funny. Whatever they do.
Oh, it will.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's why I asked about the Mindy, Kaylee. Like, Ashley and I follow all of her projects, so we love her work.
Yeah.
So Ashley and I both moved away from our hometowns to pursue our careers, and it's been worth it. When did you know it was time for you to move? And was that a difficult decision?
Yeah, I think most of my classmates moved to New York City immediately after graduating in May 2015. But I knew I wasn't ready. I just didn't feel ready. And that made me really sad. It made me feel like I was behind. But I ended up getting into the internship at Cincinnati Playhouse, like I said. I spent a year there. And then after that, I knew it was time. Like, I was itching to go. Like, by the time it was over, I was ready. I sold my car. And luckily, my cousin got a job at the Barclays Center, which is cool. So we were like, we can move together. And
that's
ended
wonderful.
Up being really great. Yeah, we lived together for 3 years. It was nice to be with family. But I knew, like, it was just time. I felt like there was a cap in the Cincinnati market for what I wanted to do. I think Cincinnati has a great theater scene, and I love and respect all the artists there, and all the theaters are some of my favorite theaters in the country. But I knew that if I wanted to do off-Broadway, do Broadway, be on TV, I had to go.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I'm definitely like a family person. You know, I miss being around my family, but I do not regret the decision at all.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how was that transition moving to New York from the Midwest?
Oh God, I hated it. I hated it so much.
I bet.
I was like, this place is so dirty. Like,
and busy.
It's dirty. It's loud. My first like 2 months here, I met someone. I told you I worked at the National Theater, Black Theater, excuse me. And we became really close. And I told her I wasn't sleeping at night. Like, it's really loud. Like, I can't settle down. It's just horns and sirens and people yelling and all these things. And she was like, you need to read before bed. And I was like, oh yeah, like sometimes I read like spiritual books, blah, blah, blah. She was like, no. You need to read fiction before bed to just take your mind off of where you are and all the work that you're trying to do and just go somewhere else. And she introduced me to Octavia E. Butler, who is now my favorite.
Kendrick.
And yes, I read everything. I love The Parable of the Sower.
Yep.
And it really helped me relax. It was hard. Like, I mean, like seeing rap.
Wait, you were able to sleep after reading The Parable of the Sower?
I was, because I feel like because my whole day was filled with like work that I needed to do in this new life, and it took me into like an imaginative place.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it feels kind of like reality these days. That's
well, I was
going
to say, it's almost like it's taking you and going ahead and putting you into a dream state, right? Like an imaginary place versus what do I have to do tomorrow and what is on my checklist and all those things that keep your mind busy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely, the transition was really hard. I don't think I started really liking New York until 2020.
When it got dead and everybody was in their
Yeah.
houses.
I mean, I babysat. That was my side hustle. And so I would get to see the city, not last year, from 2016 till then. Like my main source of income other than theater was babysitting. And I was always pushing around these children all over the city. And so it felt like I knew the city, but I wasn't experiencing it. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to
I can
not
understand
work.
that. Yeah, it's a luxury, right? A privilege to...
It's such a privilege to actually have time. Like I know people who got to move here and their parents paid their rent for 6 months, like their first 6 months. I didn't have that.
Wow.
And I think
Renika, are these white people?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They're the
Ashley.
I'm just asking. Listen, we keep it real on the pod. We had this conversation with Teresa because
we sure do.
So Renika, our first interview we did with my old freshman college roommate from Wright State, Teresa, and we talked about that fact and disparity of economic resources where a lot of, more upper class white kids have the ability to move out to LA, take on those jobs, get into the industry. I mean, that's a fact. So
no, it's true. And like, this is a very expensive industry.
Exactly.
And it's crazy because we make sometimes we make the least amount of money, especially on stage. Does it make sense? So it's just like, and it's they expect you to stay in class. They expect you to have a new headset. They expect you to have a website. All these things cost money, right? And
absolutely.
So to have parents, and I have very supportive parents,
Yeah.
but they can't afford, my rent's higher than their mortgage.
Girl, yes. You live in one of the most expensive cities in the world.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So these kids got to come here for 6 months off their parents' dime. So they're like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I had to hustle, which I appreciate because it made me who I am.
It builds character.
Exactly. But 2020 was the biggest theater job, off-Broadway job that I got that I did not have to babysit for that first 2 months, 3 months before the world shut down. So I was like really experiencing the city in a different way. Like I get to wake up and go do something I love versus go push around on the white truck.
What's that project?
All the Natalie Portmans by C.A. Johnson. It was at MCC Theater. No, it was really fun. I got to work with some really great artists. And it was really cool to just feel like I was an artist living in New York City and I didn't have to do anything that I didn't want to do. And then the world shut down. And then I went into hiding. But then after a few months, I was like, wait a second, I'm about to just start walking. I found new parks. I found new sites.
Ooh.
I found new restaurants that started to open back up. And I was like, I really like this place. Like I had lived in Harlem, but I didn't know Harlem until last year.
So much culture.
Now I don't want to leave. And now it's really weird. Like that I have the opportunity to live in LA and I don't want to. I really don't like LA that much. But maybe that will change.
I'm gonna have to come back and experience
the weather in LA is
the weather for sure, but I'm gonna have to come back and experience New York through your eyes, Renika, because to your point, even still when I visit, I was just there in October and stayed in Brooklyn, visited Harlem, visited Soho, all these places. I don't have that love, but I think it always helps to have somebody who lives there and gives you like that local experience to really appreciate a city. Because I'm over the touristy stuff. I'm not trying to go to Times Square.
No. Ew, oh my God. When people are like, take me to Times Square, I'm like, that is not where you should go. No, it's true. Like, it's really true. Like, you have to get the local experience. And my boyfriend, he's always been great about that. Like, we've been here for the same amount of time, but he always found like hole in the walls, like mom and pop places. And I'm like, wow, this is authentic Dominican food. Or, it's just like, wow, we go to these places downtown. And thinking like because it comes up on a website that says the best restaurant in Midtown, it's not.
It's not. Really not. They can pay for it on the website or on Google search.
And we have some different tastes anyways in terms of what's good food and what's not. So
we do. For sure.
But Renika, what's next for you? You just wrapped this show. What's going on?
What's next is right now. What's next is taking care of myself. I think for the 5 years I've been here, I've just been on the go and I'm really enjoying this time to pour back into myself.
So important.
And yes, to take care of my physical health and my mental health and my spiritual health. Things that I feel like when you're trying to get a job, you kind of go out the window sometimes. So I'm trying to just focus on right now. I'm trying to move. We're going to get a new apartment, which I'm excited about, and just continue to experience life. I feel like for a lot of my 20s, I'm like, oh, I can't go on vacation because what if someone offers me a job? Oh, I can't plan this trip home because like there's a chance that I might book this play. Like I'm actually sick of living like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to live like that. I'm vacation next week. You know, it's just like I'm glad because I've put it off for so long. I'm not doing that anymore. So my what's next is right now, which is learning how to be present and live in the present moment.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Again, we talked at the top of, our discussion about longevity and how will you have that if you're not able to take care of yourself and make sure that you are in a good space when you do have these amazing opportunities coming your way.
Yes. Setting that intention is so important.
Yeah, I need to. Listen, because once we get started on season 2, it's back and on the grind. So it's like, do what you can right now.
And we're getting that expansive role for Willow for season 2.
We
are gonna put that into the air.
Period. I would like to be exhausted. I would love to.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
So what do you want our audience to know about you and your work?
I just want them to see the little Black girl that didn't always feel pretty, who grew up to know that's not true. Or the little girl that didn't always feel heard and who is now speaking loudly. I want them to see that I'm just like them. Sometimes I feel like this new moment makes people not see you as human sometimes. And I want people to always know that I'm human and I start from a human place. I grew up watching TV and like relating to certain characters who I felt like were actually experienced life. I've experienced a lot of life. I lost my best friend 3 years ago. My mother was sick for most of my life growing up. Thank you. It's like I go through the things that you go through. And I think that's what I want people to always know, that just because there's light that shines inside of you, that light comes from a place that may have been dark at some point, And that's what I want people to know.
That was beautiful. Powerful. You gotta let that sit.
I'm getting a little watery here.
Man.
Yeah, it's been a rough few years, but you know what? God is good and we're here now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
The last question that I really have for you is, speaking of kind of those little Black girls and the next generation, what advice do you have for others hoping to get into acting and into the industry?
Yeah, man, I mean, you have to stick at it. You really have to stick at it. It can take a really long time. I have a friend who I'm so proud of. She's been in the industry for almost 20 years and she's booked her first series regular. And the fact that she didn't give up, I'm like, wow, that's a really long time.
Yeah.
I think it's important to go to school. I know it sounds cheesy, but you have to get training. You have to be a trained actor if you want longevity. And also like create your own stuff. That is something I wish somebody would have told me.
Absolutely.
I think I did not take advantage of creating my own content, of writing my own script. I could have done it myself while I was waiting for somebody to give me a yes. And so while you're waiting, you train and you write and you create on your own. But you also have to stick in it though, because it's really hard out here. Like it's really hard. It's so many people trying to be in entertainment. It really is. And the only way to shine through is just be yourself. I think we spend a lot of time trying to be somebody else. Like, oh, I like them. I want to be like them. No, actually, it's about you being like you.
That's your superpower. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for this conversation in general. I love that. I feel like with each interview we're getting, it's just such great advice, such great experiences that are shared. And hopefully, people get so much out of it. And Renika, We wish you all the things that you want.
All the things
in your life, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
Again, you were so amazing in season 1, guys. Make sure you check out The Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO Max and check out our girl Renika as Willow.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun time.
This is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Renika.
Thank you.
Girl, that last part about took you out, didn't it? You were in tears.
Oh, I'm a Cancer. You know how we do. But phenomenal conversation with Renika. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so excited for her career and a season 2.
Absolutely. I mean, she gave answers that I personally was not ready for. I love how relatable she is, how down to earth she is. And
absolutely.
Guys, that last part, that's all I have to say. Renika, keep doing your thing out here, girl. Again, we wish you nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best.
And we're going to get this.
You want. EGOT, we're claiming it. It's all in the atmosphere.
There we go. And we are definitely going to get this expansive role in season 2 that we keep talking about. So guys, if you have not watched season 1 of The Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO Max, please turn on your television after you turn off this podcast.
So good. Like, we were giddy because we had finished the first season. It's so good.
And I sound so old. Watch it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, wherever. I forget everybody doesn't watch stuff.
I personally can't do it. I need a television. Okay.
Only at night do I put stuff on my phone and my tablet. But anyway, guys, we will see you on Thursday. We will have a brand new episode dropping with our usual headlines and hot topics. And we'll see you then. Delora, love you.
Love you, girl. And girl, we're going to talk about the finale of Insecure.
Oh my God. Can't wait, guys. Cannot wait. See you then.